stop whatever you're doing right now, because the coin I'm about to talk about has been sitting in drawers, cigar boxes, and forgotten collections for nearly 90 years, and some people have unknowingly held thousands of dollars in their hands. This tiny brown penny from the Great Depression era has shocked collectors, shattered auction estimates, and turned ordinary people into lifelong coin hunters overnight. Today, we're exposing the incredible secrets of the 1936 United States Lincoln penny, a coin that looks humble, but in the right condition or with the right mistake, becomes big money, real hidden treasure, and for a lucky few, a truly life-changing value. Let's rewind the clock to 1936. America was crawling out of the Great Depression. Jobs were scarce. Money was tight. Every single cent mattered. That's what makes this coin so mysterious. While people were struggling just to survive, the U.S. Mint was quietly producing pennies that would later become some of the most hunted Lincoln cents in history. And here's the strange part. No one knew at the time. The 1936 Lincoln penny was struck at 3 mints. Philadelphia with no mint mark, Denver with AD, and San Francisco with an S. Millions were made. People spent them on bread, newspapers, and coffee. They were never meant to be special. But something went wrong inside the minting process. Very wrong. And those mistakes are where the story explodes. Let me reset your attention right here, because this is where collectors' heart rates spike. There exists a 1936 double die obverse Lincoln penny that is so dramatic, so obvious, that even beginners can spot it once they know what to look for. This wasn't wear. This wasn't damage. This was a genuine mint error created when the die struck the design twice, slightly misaligned. On these coins, you'll see strong doubling on "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1936. The letters look thick, shadowed, almost vibrating, and here's the shock. Authentic. Wait, before you blink, I need to tell you something shocking. A simple quarter you might have in your pocket right now, the 1999 Delaware State Quarter, has sold for big money, even tens of thousands of dollars. And in the rarest cases, it has a kind of life-changing value that can flip a normal life upside down. I'm serious. This isn't hype. This is one of the most hunted coins in modern American history. And the hidden treasure might be sitting in your change jar right now. Back in 1999, the U.S. Mint launched the State Quarters program. It was supposed to be simple. Celebrate America, get people interested in coins, and keep quarters flowing. Delaware, the very first state, was chosen to kick it all off. Millions of people rushed to save them. But what almost no one knew was that, in the rush to strike billions of these coins, something went wrong. And when the mint makes a mistake, that mistake can turn into big money. Here's where the mystery begins. The Delaware quarter shows Caesar Rodney riding his horse in a famous 1776 midnight dash to vote for independence. It looks ordinary, but some of these quarters were struck with secret errors so dramatic that collectors nearly fell out of their chairs when they were discovered. We're talking about coins that were minted wrong, slipped into circulation, and then vanished into wallets, cash registers, and coin jars across America. Most people spent them. A few lucky people held on to them. And those few, they found hidden treasure. Now, let's talk about the shocking value. A normal 1999 Delaware quarter is worth 25 cents. But error versions? That's where life-changing value comes in. Some of these quarters have sold for hundreds, some for thousands. And some rare error types have hit 5-figure prices at auction. One of the most famous Delaware quarter errors, known as the spitting horse, has sold for over $10,000 in top condition. Imagine that. $10,000 from a single quarter. The spitting horse error happens because of a die crack that runs from the horse's mouth. It looks like the horse is spitting. That tiny crack turned a common coin into big money. But that's just the beginning. Some Delaware quarters were struck on the wrong metal planchet. That means instead of being struck on a copper-nickel quarter blank, they were accidentally struck on a dime blank or even foreign coin blanks. Those errors can bring thousands of dollars or more, especially when graded by professional services. So, how do you identify a valuable 1999 Delaware State Quarter? This is where you need to pay attention. First, look at the date. It must say 1999. Next, look for the mint mark. Under George Washington's ponytail in the front, You'll see either AP for Philadelphia, AD for Denver, or nothing if it's a special proof. Some error varieties are known from both P and D mints, but certain errors are rarer from one mint than the other, which means more big money. Now flip the coin over. Look closely at. Stop everything for just 10 seconds, because the tiny copper coin you ignore for decades could be hiding big money. And I'm not talking about a few pounds or a novelty value. I'm talking about hundreds, thousands, and in rare situations, life-changing value. The coin is the 1971 British 2 new pence, and it's one of the most mysterious and misunderstood coins in modern UK history. Most people think it's just an old brown coin, something that sits in jars, old wallets, or dusty drawers. But collectors know the truth. This coin was born during one of the most chaotic moments in British monetary history. 1971 wasn't just another year. It was Decimal Day. Britain completely abandoned a money system that had existed for over 1,000 years. Pounds, shillings, and pence were wiped out overnight. Machines broke. Banks made mistakes. People panicked. And the Royal Mint was forced to produce millions of new coins at insane speed. And when you rush anything at that scale, errors are inevitable. That's when the hidden treasure started slipping through. Now here's the first shock. A normal worn 1971 2p coin is worth face value, but in uncirculated condition, graded by NGC or PCGS. Some examples have sold for £120 to £350. Same coin, same year, different condition. Suddenly, big money. Now reset your attention, because this next part is where it gets serious. The 1971 2p is one of the largest circulating coins ever issued in the UK. It's heavy, thick, and almost comically oversized. That alone makes it special, but size created a problem. The Royal Mint struggled with striking such a massive coin properly, and many early examples show weak strikes, off-center designs, double impressions, misaligned rims, and collectors pay huge premiums for these. An off-center 1971 2p with full date and Queen's head sold for £480. A double-struck example sold for over £900, and most people would never even notice these errors. Now here's where the mystery deepens. The inscription says new pence instead of 2 pence. That phrase became legendary, because years later, a mistake version was made. The famous 1983 new pence, worth up to £100,000. But the 1971 version is the original source of that legend. And collectors hunt the earliest strikes, known as first-issue coins, which show sharper rims, deeper lettering, and richer copper tone. These early strikes can fetch £200 to £600 if pristine. Now reset again, because this one is shocking. There are 1971 2p coins struck on wrong metal planchets. Some are accidentally struck on 1p blanks, 4n blanks, experimental bronze alloys. These look thinner, lighter, or have unusual color. Sometimes golden, sometimes reddish, sometimes dull gray. One off-metal example sold for £750. Another reportedly sold privately for over £2, £500. A coin meant to buy nothing, now worth more than a holiday. Now here's the brutal part. Most people would spend it without thinking. That's how hidden treasure disappears forever. Now, let me teach you exactly how to identify a valuable 1971 2p. First, check the date. Must say 1971. There is no mint mark on UK coins, so don't look for letters. Look at the color. Standard is deep copper brown. If it looks golden, silver, or pale, that's suspicious. Weigh it. Normal weight is 7.12 grams. If it's heavier or lighter, you may have an off-metal strike. Check the rim. It should be thick and well-formed. If the rim is missing, split, or uneven, that's an error. Look at the Queen's portrait. Sharp detail means early strike. Soft detail means later strike. Now here's another reset. Proof coins. In 1971, special proof versions were made for collector sets. They have mirror-like surfaces and razor-sharp edges. Most people broke these sets and spent them. A genuine 1971 proof 2p in perfect condition can sell for £300 to £800. If graded PF69 or PF70, prices climb even higher. Now, the most emotional part of the story. In 2019, a man in England found a bag of old coins left by his father. Inside was a pristine 1971 proof 2p. He almost donated it. Instead, he sent it for grading. It sold £4 620. Not millions, but for a coin he nearly threw away? That's big money. Now reset again. There are also die clash errors, where the queen's head and the feathers imprint faintly onto each other. These ghosts, like images, look supernatural. Collectors love them. Values range from pound 150 to pound 600, and they're incredibly hard to see unless you know what you're looking for. Now here's the psychological twist. Because this coin is common, people assume it's worthless. That's why it's one of the most dangerous coins to overlook. The real hidden treasure isn't in rare coins. It's in common coins with rare mistakes. And this one is full of them. Now imagine this. You check an old Jardinite. You find a thick brown coin from 1971. You weigh it. It's wrong. You send it for grading, and suddenly you're holding a piece of metal worth pound 1, 500, pound 2, 000, maybe more, not because you were lucky, because you paid attention. That's the real lesson. The world is full of life-changing value, hiding in plain sight, and most people walk past it every day. So here's your cliffhanger. Right now, somewhere in your house or your parents' house or your grandparents' house, there could be a 1971 2p coin that's already paid for your next holiday, your next car, or your next dream, but you'll never know unless you check. So tonight, don't scroll, don't sleep, don't assume. Go find your coins, because the next piece of big money might already belong to you. And if you want more hidden treasure, more shocking stories, and more life-changing value, subscribe now, because the coin you ignore tomorrow might be the one you regret forever.